Yo, what up guys, today we're going to be taking a look at Chovy's Tristana because it has no counters. He's playing versus Showmaker today in a classic Jace versus Tristana matchup. Jace used to be one of the OG counters to Tristana, but Chovy shows us how to completely dominate the matchup and get a lead. So first things that we see initially is that Chovy actually starts with E onto the Jace, because he does that to get lane priority. Whenever he has the E onto Jace, whenever they trade out attacks, it's going to be in favor for Chovy. Chovy's very happy trading because he's got the fleet set up and Showmaker's got face rush. So the more they trade, the better it is for Chovy, because Chovy actually wins the more efficient. That's why he's also so happy actually staying and fighting back with the Jace. Tristana's E has a very long cooldown. And Jace really wants to play around that Tristana E. When the E is down, Jace can win trades. When the E is up, Tristana will win trades. And there's a few neat little things that Chovy is doing right here. And since he crashed the wave, let's actually rewind until level 1, because I want to specify two things. Number one, he instantly starts attacking the caster creeps, because Chovy wants to get a minion advantage. He can use the minion advantage to actually pressure the Jace and contest every one of his CS. That's also what he's trying to do here. Look how aggressive he's posturing when the creep is dropping low. He's trying to contest every CS. And unfortunately he misses to himself, a little bit un-Chovy-like. But as you can see, he's very happy testing the creeps, trading aggressively, and trading his health for it. So right now he's got the wave actually very deep, because he pushed the first wave really quickly because of Trist, and he takes Q level 2 rather than W. A lot of Trist would still take W level 2 here, but the reason why he takes Q is number one. He wants to get this wave in, so the next wave actually comes back a little bit further into his lane. And because Tristana loves having the wave in like this, so she can actually press E on top of the tower, hit Showmaker and the next mini wave to get the push again. Plus the reason why she wanted the Q upgrades, because it allows her to auto-attack more, get more fleet procs, get more Doran's blade auto-attacks up, so she can regenerate more health. Every single life point matters in this lane. So we see that he's slightly behind on CS, but he is up in priority. Playing around the bone plating right here, very happy, just take the trade. And one thing that we see that is that he kind of didn't really have proper vision set up, so to ward and lean. So he actually got into a position where he needed to burn his flash, but Lilia cleans up, nice counter gank, and they actually get a beautiful little kill onto the Talia and a nice base onto Showmaker. So Showmaker is in a very tricky situation right here. Chovy tries to scout, see if he can cancel him, but now needs to match the reset. And this small lead is really good for Chovy, even though he doesn't have flash, because he can now translate this lead into a bigger lead into this lane. As you can see, Jace went for tier. Chovy goes for kill refillable potion. Guess what? Chovy now has even more health sustain in this lane. Now actually opts in for a ward on top side. I love a ward like that. Those are my favorite wards, especially on champs that have lane control, because you can use those wards to actually, after you have to push, chuck and lean into that side of the map and actually put pressure there, just by sitting in full of ward. As you can see, Chovy really utilizing the bone plating, using the strength of his E to make it really hard for Showmaker to trade back into him, contesting every creep right here. I love how Chovy does that. His positioning is fantastic. And he's really happy to just trade out attacks with the Jace. As long as it's out attacks, Chovy's very happy, because Tristana has slightly more AD at this point in the game, and it once again has more sustain. So she's now playing the waves a little bit slower, because by perma pushing, it's actually gonna allow the Jace to get some creeps for free actually. And what we see right here is that by letting the wave come in a little bit more, he can actually look for an extended W onto the wrong lane. But it's also easier to just trade out attacks, because he's got a little bit more room in the lane to work with. And we all know Tristana has the innate push in their kit, so of course he cannot continuously do that like any other mage or someone like that would be able to do. But he's just very happy, just slow pushing constantly into Jace. That's what we're going to try that then. Beautiful trade, aggressive W in around the bone plating. This is something that a lot of Tristanas will do. They'll utilize bone plating to actually find W angles in, because it's so hard to actually damage a Tristana whenever she has the bone plating up, because whenever she jumps in, she's in your face. Now she has bone plating up, so what are you gonna do about it? You're perfectly using the tower to regenerate more health. Nice W buffer here as well. He might die here still because of The Nautilus also roaming up. And right here, kind of looks like it's going to be very hard for him to survive. Got this sub gap, guys. It's always the sub gap that fucks our mid laners over here. So that's unfortunate. We are 12 CS up, so that's completely fine, and we've got a pretty decent base. Tristana always rushes Kraken, and Kraken is it's a really good item, but the components of Kraken are actually kind of meh. And if you really look at what the components offer, I think Recurve Bow is probably the nicest one to get, because Hardbound X is so much gold for so little stats. Recurve Bow actually gives you that nice on-hit, and because Tristana actually has a lot of attack speed in her kit, the Recurve Bow is a very welcome purchase. Also, once again, helps with you clearing the minion waves, having even more wave clear, even more attack speed. Also going to make it easier for you to proc your E, which is where a lot of the damage will be coming from in these trades. So once again, control ward in this side lane bush. Why does he place it right there? Well, let's actually pause the video and let's actually get a little bit more specific. So why does he control ward in this specific bush, and why does he do it on top side? Why doesn't he do it on bot side? It's a very good question. The reason why it is because he wants to play for the grips. Tristana wants to play mid to late game in the side lane, and if he can get grips onto Trist, that means that the split pushing is going to be even more problematic, and it's going to be very hard for the enemies to deal with if she's on the strong side getting hovered by Lilia, bursting down towers with her long range and high tower damage in the side lane. And I don't see really anyone in their team that can properly deal with a Tristana plus Lilia hovering her. The enemy's engage is rather limited. It's mainly limited towards a Nautilus. So I love the places where he wards. He really actively uses his lane control towards the side on which that he wants to be playing on. Lilia also understands that. Once again, we see a beautiful trade with bone blading. This is originally why Jace countered Tristana, because he can also proc the phase rush, get out of Tristana's range, get a nice little quick burst rate. But the Tristanas have evolved. Tristana is also one of the it's just a new age of mid laner, guys. This champ's got everything. This champ's got wave clear, this champ's got dashes, it's got all-in potential, it's got burst, it has everything, it has self-peel. This champ has got everything. So this is really the new age of mid laners here, and you'll really see it come into play by Chovy. I think he shows the laning fundamentals really well. He's also very active about understanding which creeps he has to give. Sometimes you have to give creeps while playing Tristana. Because you're still an auto-attack based champion, and it's very easy to see whenever Trist is going to be auto-attacking a creep. So if Jace can prepare his QE onto the creeps that are a little bit out of reach for Trist, that whenever she has to walk up a little bit too far, it's really easy for Jace to just punish the Tristana, possibly even proc her bone plating. And we really want to be keeping our bone plating for our own proactive movements, because we can actually get very favorable trades around that. You can see that Chovy hasn't even used his refillable potion right here, but Jace is already down 2 refill pots. He's full health. He's playing Absorb Life. He's playing Fleet. He will never die. This trade is so good for Chovy. Not necessarily because he wins this pure one-on-one trade, because look at his regeneration. It's very stupid. It's very hard to play against. Tristana is very hard to beat. The downside of Tristana, though, is that if you manage to gank her and if you manage to put her behind, she is actually pretty useless. Because this champion is still an auto-attack based champion, needs a lot of items to skill, needs levels to skill, but if she falls behind and she doesn't get access to that, the champ actually becomes very hard to play. If she cannot win the side lane, what is she gonna do? So putting Tristana behind, possibly like teammate access, because it's pretty hard in the 1v1, is the way to go when you're playing against this champion. A lot of Trists, what you'll actually see, especially in the lower elos, a lot of Trists are actually suicide bombers, and they will mess up with Ws. So they'll try to W in, and they'll get themselves killed. That's how they fall behind. And then, as I said, once you're behind on Trist, you're just struggling. And now we're just seeing the war of attrition into play right here. Chovy is a nice, decent CS advantage of about 20 minions right now, whenever he clears this wave. And we see that the grips are going to be spawning not too long from now. So what we're going to be doing right here is we're going to be getting topside control together with our Lilia. We're going to be proccing our fleet. As you can see, 52 health. It's a lot of health right now. And we got our TP up, so we don't necessarily have to reset right now. We can extend the lane a little bit more, get to a better gold value, and then opt in for the reset, which is what he's doing right now. There's a specific reason why he didn't reset at the same time with Jace, even though they both had a lot of time to do so. It's because he actually wanted a little bit more gold for an item to buy. Let's see which one he actually gets. He gets the... What is it? It's the X. It's the Hardbound X, yeah. And the Longsword. So it's probably the best he could afford. Tristana does not want to buy early boots. Because Tristana is a very... her first item spike is incredibly important for her. And if she buys boots, that will deny or like delay her first item spikes. And we want to get to Kraken as soon as possible, because the difference between you having Kraken and not having Kraken is just massive. So we're just happy not buying boots and just delaying them after we get the Kraken, because we want to get there ASAP. And the Kraken is like, it's such a difference maker, guys. Trist is now in her power trough just before Kraken. You can see Jace just had a massive trade onto the Trist, but even though that just happened, we're just regenerating everything back up. We're still very happy just trading around our around the W and our E whenever we have our E up, just as we see right here. Even though Jace hits almost everything, still loses a trade. Almost get the solo kill with the nice R into auto attack buffer. It was a really good attempt, but bit of a little bit more than Nikochu. If we had Kraken here, guys, I don't want to be nitpicky, but if we would have had Kraken right here, that would be an easy solo kill. That would be an absolute annihilation. But still, we're playing the War of Attrition. We're very happy with this trade. And now we're just going to be bombing the tower. We're going to be regenerating health, because we're also out-attacking that fleet. That's also what makes Trist so incredibly strong. So, we see that Lilia is now hovering up the top side. Jace is resetting. Maybe it's good to contest the grubs right here. We'll have to see how it goes. If we can get 6 grubs, pretty sure the game is in a position where we are incredibly happy. And it seems like our Lilia is playing much faster than the Talia, and is actually able to sneak away entire Talia's top side. So that's going to be a brutal one for Talia to deal with. Talia's going to be very unhappy about that. So we're actually opting in to get our Kraken right now. Kraken before anything else. Now we're just in a fantastic position. We also see that we have a beautiful little gank from the Lilia, which is incredibly strong. As you guys all know, Lilia is very strong in this patch with the new item. With us having the Kraken as well, we're just able to deal out massive damage. We get a kill onto the Kai'Sa. And personally, I would really actively call for grips right now. I want to do these grips. I want to get 6 grips, get both of those Void Might spawning, so we can actually have that massive threat into the side lane. So that's personally something that I would be doing if I would be playing Tristana right here. Really want to get into top side, get those grips, and go from there. So enemy Naut is slightly overextended. We get a beautiful kill into the Naut. This should lead into the grips, in my opinion. We'll probably first kill Jace on mid here. He's very overextended. We got Leona without ult. The beautiful jump from Chovy actually. Bumping Jace into Leona. Very intentional jump. That was a genius jump. And it kind of seems over here, guys. It seems like they're just trampling the enemy mid jungle from this point. This is the strength of Tristana. Beautiful 2v2 jungle strength, especially if you're combining this with an AP jungler. Spreading out the damage that you're going to be dealing. And it seems like Tristana actually opts in for Ninja Tabis, or like Plated Steel Caps. It's a very interesting buy. Most Tristanas would opt in for Berserker Greaves in this specific case, which is also not too bad. But Tristana actually loves defensive stats. She already gets a lot of attack speed from Kraken. She gets a lot of attack speed from a Q. She gets a lot of attack speed from Alacrity. She gets a lot of attack speed from the Navori, or like the Yuntal Flicker Blades or something like that. I don't know how they call it. The new Navoris, let's put it like that. So she doesn't necessarily need much more attack speed. She's already attacking incredibly fast. If she can get these defensive boots, it's going to be even easier for her to navigate the mid game. Whenever she's going to be in the side lane, she's always trying to match her lane opponent, beat her lane opponent by just raw stat checking and out statting them. It's not too complicated. It's actually very linear. Tristana in that specific case, whenever you're ahead, is very the only real reason you're going to be messing it up, guys, is if you're just going to be suicide bomber Wing it all the time. And from this point, right, I think we've got through the lane mainly. See that there's some shenanigans going on. the game actually doesn't last for too much longer. We also have a Skarner in our team. I'm not sure if you guys have seen much Skarner in your own games. Skarner has been absolutely terrorizing the Rift. This champion is on another level. I'm personally perma-banning it every single game. I don't like it. I don't like to do that as a mid laner. I don't think it's my job. But sometimes, whenever my top laner or my jungler refuses to ban the champion, I still take the bullet, because every single time I play against a champ, I cannot win. It's impossible. It's too tanky. It solo kills my top laner 10 times in a row. And in this case, it's also keen on Skarner. As you can see, a solo kill into Tryndamere. Skarner is the most high damage tank that I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen some high damage tanks before. I've seen Ornn. I've seen some stuff. So we see a little bit of a skirmish breaking out right here. Beautiful little W reset. Maybe we can get another kill. I love the fact that he's so patient and not really chasing for the kill. I probably would have went for the kill. I would have probably died for it and given away my shutdown. Chovy, very patient, very controlled. Takes the blue buff from the Taliyah. And Taliya's probably even more mad about her losing the blue buff than she would be about dying there to Chovy. You know how junglers are nowadays. Every camp matters. They will die for a camp. So we want to be starting to opt in for a reset. We probably got enough for like the quick blades or whatever the item is called. We do, and this is an insane 2-item spike, of course. And this 2-item spike is fantastic for Twist, because she now has her Q plus her E probably up all the time, and her main downside as Tristana is if you have your abilities not up, because you're very ability reliant. In a way, the difference between you having your abilities up and not is going to be the difference between you winning and losing all-in skirmishes, but also just escaping. Having that W up, it's going to make you more mobile. It's going to make you easier for you to reposition, play in the side lane. And from this point, Tristana actually wants to be playing in the side, wants to be pushing side. It seems like, and then drawing the enemies there, creating a man advantage. But it seems like the enemies have found an engagement to mid. And we feel like we need to cover. We don't want to be losing mid tier 1 just yet. That's probably why Chovy runs down here. And we gotta be a little bit careful to not take too bad of a skirmish going, but he actually sees an opportunity to go in. And I don't fully agree with this opportunity. I think Chovy kind of messed up his macro right here. Beautiful lane. But I actually think that he got incredibly lucky right here. Even died. He kind of ran it down. So what do I think he should have done right here? I think what he should have done, especially thinking about the fact that we're Tristana, Leona has had no reason to fight a 4 versus 5, if it's a 4 versus 5 at all, because look at what Skarner needs to do. Skarner needs to answer this top wave, otherwise he's going to be losing all of these creeps. So Chovy misread the situation. This is a classic Chovy death right here. Almost perfect laning, then gets stuff like this happening. Tries to limit test, and he actually gets punished for it. It's really, really good play by the plays by the enemy team. Tryndamere collapsing, using his top push. He should have actually went bot and just pushed bot, asked Lilia to hover after clearing her top side, her bot side camps. They could probably sneak the bot tier 1, and if they get the bot tier 1, because he's matching Jace with Tavis, Lilia hovering, they can probably just progress the game from there because of how much more room in the map that you got to play through. Yeah, so a little bit disappointed here. It seems like Tryndamere also dies. Skill to Leona, which is not ideal, of course, but we're still in a great spot. Looks like we get the mid tier 1 because Skarner. We don't have to say much more. And right now we want to actually go into the side. So ideally, what we actually see is see that the Baron is coming up in 1 minute, Dragon's coming up in 3 minutes. So what we want to do is we want to get onto the strong side as Tristana. And now there's 2 ways that we can approach it. We can approach it through the Baron, but we can also approach it through the bot tier 1. Because those are 2 very decent objectives that we can take. We can take topside control for Nash since it's spawning in a minute. But we can also play for bot tier 1 first before we do that. Now in this specific case, it seems like Skarner went bot. I'm not sure if this was intentional by the Skarner, because there's arguments that you want to be playing on both sides. But the most important thing is that you want to be playing on the strong side as Trist. And it seems like they actively choose to put Trist on top right here. Skarner on bot lane. And try to get topside control. It may actually be a little bit random. I'm not sure if this is actually coordinated or not. We'll have to see how it plays out. As long as Lilia is actually coming towards side, towards our side. And ideally, we are actually matching the Jace, but we don't really mind too much matching the Tryndamere as well. The only problem is that I doubt the fact that our Skarner will get priority into Jace. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We'll see. But it looks like we're a little bit of a stalemate situation right now in the game. And I think that's partially because of the lanes. I think it would have probably been best. Personally, I think taking Nash so early is very hard. And I understand that the enemy has a lot of Nash damage in Kai'Sa and Talia. But I would have loved for Chovy to swap up the lane assignment, send Skarner to top, and actually play for this tier 1 before they go into the top side and control for Baron. So I think a little bit of optimization here in the macro department once again. But we're all human. It's very hard to instantly recognize it in the game. So we do some Chovy moving right here. Trist is completely fine Chovy moving. And the main issue why we're not able to push up much further and get topside control. Just look at what our Lilia is doing. We need Lilia hover, otherwise we're going to be useless. So what happens right now is they go for a delayed play onto the bot tier 1. And the dragon's coming up in 2 minutes. So you see just very slow, very messy, extremely messy macro here, guys. Just very, very messy. And it just turns out into just a general solo queue scrap. Who doesn't love a general solo queue scrap? So we get the kill. Not much to siege. The enemy's got a lot of wave clear with Talia. So we can now just play for the bot T1. So finally, 2 minutes later, we actually opt in to make the bot T1 play, which is good. And it seems like Tryndamere is going to be matching us. One thing you want to do as Trist is always just E the tower, because the tower will also be hitting the minions. So Chovy is happy just guiding out the Tryndamere. Because he's able to hit the Tryndamere so much, he actually has his W back up on cooldown. Proccing the Tryndamere R, beautiful stuff. And he actually is able to take the tower. So there's actually quite a long time after the minions died that he can actually do that. Beautiful TP, getting the tier 1, and now they can instantly swap up the lane as well and send Skarner bot, send Chovy top. Unless they actually don't want to do that and play for the dragon. I think playing for the dragon is also possible, since it spawns in 40 seconds. So that's a little bit tunnel vision from my end. I thought they would be playing for the Nash since there was no dragon. But since the dragon's coming up, we actually cannot go top because we want to play on the strong side on the dragon. We want to play dragon first, then go top afterwards. So this is a pretty dangerous chase. Once again, you see that Chovy and the Lilia are sometimes a little bit off tempo right here, but it seems to work out, and this should guarantee the dragon for us. Very nice little scrap. Should probably get the Kai'Sa both sums. Fantastic job. Can get the tier 2 because of this, because there's no one to defend. Chase is dead. Getting this tier 2 is massive. This tier 2 plus the dragon means that we can now use this bot push and the top push, because we got two pushing lanes right there, because we got both tier 2s already, to basically pinch her down on the tier 2. So this tier 2 is massive. We get a lot of gold. We actually get the option to actually mid. So we have the IE, and it's pretty much game here. If we get 3 items on Triss like this is really, really oppressive. So right now, it's time to actually play strong side top, because Nash is the next objective. Mid tier 2 is the next objective. That's what we're going to be playing for. So we want to be using a push and then shift that into mid. So I think the team is... I just don't like what's happening here. I think the team is too aggressive. I would much rather have Chovy push another 2 waves right here, then play into mid tier 1 if he pings his team back. But it seems like he's not pinging his team, and his team is also just like going at it. Which, as you can see, we just get punished for it. This is a disastrous macro again. Communicating with our team. Now Jace actually can use this bot lane push into pressuring the Nash. So what I'm most likely gonna expect is that there's gonna be some Nash flip right here. People love flipping their Nash, especially from a little bit behind. I think it's good for red side to flip Nash, and they did it. They actually flipped the Nash, and I think it's good for them to flip it. So if they get out, if red side gets out here, this is massively worth for red side. This is really, really worth for red. And they get a... I'm not gonna lie, Chovy gets a little bit of plot armor here once again. But I think it's good that he tries to jump in and contest, because if they trade kills, it's good for him. Yeah, it's just really fortunate that both of them survive with 1 HP, right? But generally, this is very nice for blue team now, because now they aced the red team, and red team now has no Nash left anymore. So now it's actually worse for blue. But I actually think that because of this small macro mistakes right here, we actually almost lost a flip. We really flipped it this game, and gave the game towards red side. So we steal more jungle camps. We love to be a vacuum cleaner on Tristana. We love getting us every single bit of experience and gold that we can get, because we skill so incredibly well with items. We skill so incredibly well with levels because of our range increasing on our passive. So we really gotta ask ourselves the question right now, okay, what's next? Right here. So we know that the next play is going to be on Dragon in 2 minutes 42. So 2 minutes 42 is a long time to just chill and farm right now. It's such a long time to just chill and farm. We want to do something before. We need to try to make a play onto any of the enemy's turrets right now, because otherwise we're just going to be waiting and messing around. So we want to play on 2 lanes ideally, and we want to be shifting from the lane that we're not playing on towards a different lane. We can ideally play around the side on which Tristana is playing and let Skarner shift. That's easier because Skarner loves being on the weak side, Tristana loves being on the strong side. But it seems like we're stand top lane right here. The lane assignments are a little bit funky because Lilia is hovering bot, so we need to do the weak side job. And as you can see, we're forced to run all the way back because we have to respect, because we don't know where the enemies are. So we spot the enemies right now, which allows us to actually go towards mid lane, which is really good. And now we're going to be playing a bit on mid and bot, but I doubt that they're going to be able to make progress in lanes. So I think they're just going to have to use this move to actually get some vision control into the enemy bot side and actually set up for the dragon in 146. If I would be the enemy team, right, if I would be red side right here, I would give the dragon, try to get top side control for it. But since this is Korean, they might even test the dragon and try to just brawl it out. But it's going to be scary. Chovy's got 4 items. And it's really important. Like the one that's first is just going to be so much more effective in these fights. If you're first, you're going to be so happy in these fights because it's so hard to engage through a Skarner, so hard to engage through Lilia, especially with Flash. And on the opposite side as well, it's so hard to engage into a Talia, right, whenever she plants her E down into these choke points. So we do another reset, and we want to, of course, get there for the dragon. Dragon spawning in a minute. Actually, TP mid. I don't think all of this stuff is like fully necessary, but I do like the idea of being so early in a way, just blocking out the enemy's vision. I think it's a little bit of a fail-safe way to play. This is very risky to play by the Talia. So sieging is not going to be an option right here. We need to just play for the dragon, let the enemies come into us. That's what we're going to be playing for. Sieging is too dangerous, especially if we're not using top. So also this seems very, yeah, just low value. We just want to be playing for the Drake. It's just a complete stalemate. And that's because you can see like the macro is just so hard to pull off right in solo queue games. So I don't blame him for this. This is very hard to pull off. It's a very chaotic game in a way as well. So we just gotta understand that we're in a little bit of a downtime right now. We're still very strong. Just keep the area, let the enemies come into us, try to get the dragon. Try to let him make a mistake. Like Nautilus right here. It seems like he overreached a little bit. Let's see if we can find an all-in play. We get a nice little kill onto the Nautilus. Leona dies as well. We jump in. Very dangerous, but Tryndamere does not press R. Wow. And as you can see, solo queue happens like this. The enemy Nautilus gets a little bit anxious. Steps too far forward, dies. What they should have done, once again, just concede dragon, concede bot side control, try to get top side control, and then this entire situation wouldn't have happened. And it looks like Showmaker gets a little bit anxious as well. They all die, and that's the end of the game. So overall, beautiful micro, really good laning from Chovy, like very, very, very impressive laning. I think there were a lot of macro improvements to be made, but as we can see, it's solo queue. It's very hard to properly set that up and communicate that towards your team. Overall, not too bad of a game, and he definitely shows the strength of Tristana. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys around with another video real soon.